Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Well, it's that time. It's the news for the week. Top Shelf News, where we look at the best in science fiction, fantasy, sometimes horror, mostly as it relates to books, but also sometimes with some media. We got a little bit of that today. We got some good stuff today. We got some cover reveals and some bits from traditionally published authors and some pretty big ones, and also down to indie authors, which probably deserve to be big, let's be honest. And so anyway, wanted to jump into those right away. For the books, all right, probably the biggest news here, Kristoff has got a new trilogy and then a standalone deal here, and it looks like it says 7 figures, which can mean a lot of things. There's a healthy amount of things that are 7 figures, but that's, you know, that's in the million arena, so, and not quite double-digit million arena, but it's in the million arena, right? So that's pretty good. Pretty cool to see, and again, he's obviously doing quite well. To get it out of the way, there was an announcement. Mike of Mike's Book Reviews was supposed to have a cover reveal for the latest in the Empire of the Vampire series, and that had to be postponed to April 1st because the publisher wanted to kind of do it all together with the US and UK covers, so makes sense. They get to do what they want to do, and we get to do what they want to do. I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, the new Kristoff series looks like it's going to begin 2027, and the trilogy at least is described as being Suicide Squad meets Game of Thrones. So, I mean, we'll see. Those are two interesting things. Suicide Squad's had its ups and downs, so I don't know if that's the best thing to compare things to at this moment, but if that's what it is and it's done well, then it's probably good. All right, the biggest bit of news is that there's a new, just bare bones. I don't even know why, frankly, this is considered news, and I may have to reassess whether I even address these anymore, because it just is like, it's George R.R. Martin non-news is what it is, and that's what I put in the title, because that's what it is. George R.R. Martin, he wants to finish Winds of Winter. I just like what Collider's breaking new grounds here, Copernicus. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what else to say other than, yeah, he's been saying that for a while. He's been saying that he wanted to get it finished for like 10 years, at least. I don't know if, or I guess the whole, 13 or 14 years now that it's been, since the last book was published. But here we are. All right, speaking of some of the biggest authors in the world of fantasy, Terry Brooks has apparently retiring. He's ending the Shannara run, at least that he's writing, and so, passing the baton there. I'm gonna enjoy, I think, the Patterson treatment, I guess, probably. Let's be honest. But apparently there's like 40 books in the Shannara series. I got this news from Daniel Green, who's great at the news, obviously. His last book apparently will be, again, solely from him. It was released March 11th, Gallifile. I haven't read a whole lot. I've dipped my toes, essentially. And, I've read 2 of the 3 books in the original Shannara trilogy, which apparently on the audiobooks it's pronounced Shannara. And I just think, like, Malazan just sounds better than the actual way you're supposed to say it. Shannara just, I don't know, for me sounds cooler. And that's what I go with, because I'm all about cool, as you well know. But I think it's cool. It's funny, it's the first Shannara book that I read was First King of Shannara. Now I can't even say it. I said it too many ways, both ways. And I did not love it. It was like all tell, no show, and or very little. And I almost but I was like, wait, well, you know what? This was written technically after. It's a prequel, but it's like technically written after the trilogy, or after, anyway. So I promised I'd come back to the trilogy. I did read books 1 and 2, and 2 was pretty good. Book 1, the Elfstones of Shannara. Book 1 was pretty standard, and like nothing like that I hated, but it was pretty standard fantasy, and which it is. I mean, that's literally like kind of what it was. And again, I've heard a lot of hate online, but this is like kind of the series that kept fantasy going after Lord of the Rings, and so I feel like at least I owe a lot to the Shannara trilogy and more, and Terry Brooks himself. And so I just think there's anyway, kept it going, and it's just that fun, I mean, thing that if you love Lord of the Rings, then you can love in something that slightly copies it, and in a lot of ways. The Elfstones goes a little different, and so that's good. And I need to finish that trilogy because it is just like one of those where I'm like, it wasn't exciting at the time for me to keep going, and there's lots of other stuff out there to get distracted by. But anyway, I think that's so cool. Terry Brooks, awesome, good for him, and that he gets to be done. That's great. I always wondered, a lot of authors just keep going, and it's like, I just see, like, speaking of Erickson, how much he just loves the writing process. So I think it's like half his therapy, and so I just see so many authors just love it so much, and so I'm sure there's a lot of that with Brooks, but also like, hey, let's go enjoy your family, go enjoy, your time. Not in this kind of realm in Fantasyland. I don't know. It's okay. It's allowed to do. All right, then we got some Stephen King news. He's apparently adapting or writing his own version or something like that with the children's book of Hansel and Gretel. HarperCollins Children's Division picked this up. It's a September publication. I will note it's not his first foray into the children's books. There's Charlie the Choo Choo, which I've actually never read it, but it seems like it's probably more, I don't know, a horror children's book. Is that a thing? It's got a creepy cover, okay? Just check that out. I need to read it. If you know about it, I won't spoil it, to anyone who doesn't know. But anyway, you got to read some of his books. All right, then we got a number of self-published bits of news. Biggest one, Wick Welker, for me at least. Wick Welker's got a new book, Dark Prophet. It looks like it's going to be dropping May 15th of this year. Publication date, it is Dark Law #2. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Dark Theory is excellent. It is so good. It was a finalist in the SPSFC #3. And it rightfully so, and it honestly probably should have won it, but I didn't read the rest, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But it is so good. So anyway, I cannot recommend it enough. Dark Theory. If you like I don't know, there's like some fantasy elements, but mostly science fiction. It's got this just great, a robot, and I won't get into it more, but it is awesome, and I cannot wait to read Dark Prophet more in this series. So good on Wick Welker, and congrats. And I just look at these covers. They just slap. They pop right off the page, and especially when you have them in person. So anyway, so cool, and congrats to Wick Welker there. We got A Sojourn in the Sunset Forest by Zamar Amr. This is a friend of the channel. We've got a new book coming out in cover here. I love this cover. Covers by Andrew Pulaski. Dinosaurs with like trees growing out of them or just on them. I don't know. It looks cool. And he's rocking it with the covers. So wanted to make sure and feature that. Very cool. All right, then in media news, we got just one bit that I wanted to touch on in doing my research for George R. R. Martin news, where I was like, let me follow up this most vague of interviews that really wasn't that helpful or informative or didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know for 10 years plus. But I was checking on the Not a Blog website. Apparently, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new HBO show based on the Night of the Seven Kingdoms novellas. So they're the Dunk and Egg novellas. They're so much fun. They're very straightforward. It's like, if you want Game of Thrones, if you ever wished Game of Thrones was just like a little like focused more on just like a couple characters and that's it, and you don't have to get into learning the whole genealogy of every person who's ever been a noble in a family, this is for you because it's very just focused and just right to this just punchy plot that George R. R. Martin does just so well. He's great with his characters, but he's also great at plot. And anyway, it really comes out here. I think this is literally the perfect series for being on the television to whatever degree. So anyway, that's cool, but it is looking like it's coming this year, already filmed. It's in post-production at this point, and already even got some season 2 going. So anyway, that's great news. I'm sure they know, at least with George R.R. Martin stuff, apparently, or Game of Thrones, I guess, related, is it can get at least 2 seasons. It's going to be popular. So anyway, it's not too much of a gamble to say that. But anyways, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and as always, check down below if you want any Kindle book deals. They do support the channel because they are affiliate links. So anyway, there's description down below how it works. But anyway, thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. Bye.